What's up, y'all? Riley with Smoky Mountain Overland here, and today we are talking about rooftop tents. So I've got my coffee here. I got my rooftop tent, so I must be a real overlander. I chose this mug to give you a little hint about how we afford this stuff. If you know, you know. If you really actually want to know what we do, then drop a comment below and maybe we'll do a video on that. Hannah and I are both self-employed, which lets us travel a lot and do cool vehicle stuff. Didn't think about that, but my joke made me think about it. So if you want a video on that, let me know. But today I'm going to be talking about our rooftop tent, which is the Freespirit Recreation Evolution Series hardshell tent. That's a mouthful. So we're going to get into why we chose this rooftop tent, why you might want to choose a rooftop tent at all over a ground tent, and just our overall impressions of this tent after using it for about 8 months and spending around 30 nights last year in it. So those of you who have been following us for a while know, and those of you who don't, I'll just tell you, we've had 2 rooftop tents before this rooftop tent. Both of those were good tents. That's what we're basing this review off of, is we're kind of comparing our experience with those tents to this one. We've also been around a lot of people and have a lot of friends who have other rooftop tents, so we do have some hands-on experience with other brands, other styles. We chose Freespirit Recreation because we had some problems with our other tents. Not necessarily manufacturer problems, but personal complaints involving they just didn't work for the type of camping we do. And I can talk about that a little bit later when we talk about the advantages of this tent. The other reason that we chose this tent is we actually went to their showroom in Bend, Oregon when we were visiting some friends, got to interact with these tents, climb in them, see the quality, meet the people who are behind Freespirit Recreation, and they're great people. Not that that's why you should buy the tent, but we like to support people who support the community and are good people, and they are. So Freespirit, unlike a lot of the other tent manufacturers out there, has its own manufacturer, which means that they have more control over the designs and quality of their products. And that is why Freespirit Recreation tents, the designs are so radically different from other brands in the industry. This tent is an excellent example of that, and that fresh design comes with some tremendous advantages that I think separate it from the crowd. So let's get into that now and talk about the Evolution Series hardshell tent. So the first thing you'll notice is that because this is a hardshell tent, there's no annoying PVC cover to deal with or store or anything like that. It doesn't get filthy. It's just a hardshell tent that pops up. That's great. We've had a soft shell and it is a little bit cumbersome, to be honest. The second thing you'll notice is that it has this middle bar right here that separate the 2 main components of the tent. This is important because this provides you just enough space to leave your bedding in the tent. Our previous hardshell tent was very thin. It was as if you took this middle bar out. You couldn't leave anything more than maybe a sleeping bag up there. With this, we leave multiple blankets, like thick blankets, pillows, jackets, socks, spare clothes, that kind of stuff. We can leave it all up there with the tent closed, which if you've never had to pack away all of your bedding into your vehicle or move it from the tent to the truck when it's raining, you won't understand what a big deal that is. But let me assure you, that is a huge advantage of this tent. And then the next thing you'll notice is that there is a hinge on both sides. So you have a hinge there and here. And why that is, I'm going to show you right now. To open up the tent, we're first going to get these rubber straps out of their latching points. There are 2 on each side. You just pull them down and slide out the little metal teeth. Doesn't take much weight. I know some people have had issues with these being a little stiff. You can see they are kind of stiff, but it does help cinch this up and keep it nice and tight and waterproof. So I like them. Some people don't. My wife sometimes has some issues with how stiff they are, but if you just pull down and then get one side out, the other side is easy to pop out. So once those are loose, you will go to each of these metal latches. There are 2 in the front and 2 in the back. Just lift them up and take them off like that. And then we'll get the 2 in the front. These are a little hard to reach given how we have the tent mounted. So let me pop up here. Nice and easy. Then we'll go get the one over there. With the 4 rubber latches and the 4 metal latches undone, you just come up to the front of the tent, which we have orientated to the passenger side. Come up to this top section, and I'm doing this with one hand, so bear with me, and you just give it a little push and the struts will take over and they'll open it up like that. Go to the back and do the same thing to this bottom portion until the struts take over. And might need to hop up here and give it a little extra boost. I haven't opened it in a little bit. There we go. All right, so let me just walk it around for you. So there you have it, all set up. That's the front. Show it to you from the side. There you have it from the side. And then the back. Before we climb up there and I show you the interior, just want to point out that this tent does have shoe bags on both sides. They Velcro shut. They actually have little pockets on the inside for socks or whatever. So, you know, his and hers, which is nice, and those can stay attached at all times, even when the tent is folded up. You'll also notice this tent does not have a ladder attached to it. That is because the ladder is separate, and that is one of the few complaints about this tent that we have, and I will show you why right now. So because the ladder is not attached to the tent like it is on some other tents, we keep it in this Blue Ridge Overland Gear XL tire bag or something like that, along with some other stuff that gets dirty or whatever, so we can just toss it in here and it doesn't get all over our other stuff. So first things first, we need to get these little hooks out, and I will show you how those work in a second. Also bear with me, y'all, I am filming this and doing everything else one-handed, so it's a little more challenging than it normally would be. Alright, so we're going to get our ladder out and I will show you how it works. Okay, here's our ladder in its fully collapsed state. What you're going to do is you're going to take these little hooks, and you'll see that it has grass all over it. You'll see that it has this little opening in it. So what that is the latching mechanism that will keep it in the ladder. So there you can see that. So we're going to insert these hooks, and then I will mount it to the tent so you can see how that works. With our hooks in and secured, we will unvelcro this little strap so that our ladder can expand, and we will expand it. All right, what you want to do then is take those hooks and hook them onto that little bar. And I'm not going to get this perfect right now because I'm just demonstrating, but that is how the ladder sets up on the Evolution Series 10. So make sure this is nice and secure. It's good enough. Let's go up there and talk about the interior features of the tent. Two things you'll notice as I climb up here. One, the entire tent is made out of this quilted fabric. Freespirit calls this their tri-layer fabric, and they claim that it helps with temperature regulation, keeps you warmer in the winter, cooler in the summer. We can attest to that. It is amazing. It's somehow lightweight while still keeping the elements out. It's honestly amazing. The second thing is when we open up this door, which I guess I should have unzipped. You will notice that it has this handy little bungee that sucks all the fabric in, has mounting places, makes it easier to close the thing up. So we just unhook that and there we go. All right, let's hop up here and open up some windows. All right, so the Evolution has windows on all 4 sides, which is great for camping in those scenic areas or just getting some cross ventilation. So you have these triangle shaped windows on the sides, and then you have nice semicircle window right here, and then you also have a window on the door. So now that we're up here, let's talk about this mattress, because that's one of the things that everybody wants to know. Is it comfortable? Yes. Is it the most comfortable mattress or rooftop tent mattress that we've ever slept on? No. It's a little stiff. After a few consecutive days sleeping in this tent, your body will start to tell you that this mattress is a little stiff. That being said, the bottom of this tent, which I will show you, is not a solid surface. It is little crossbars. You can't feel those through this mattress, so it does its job. It is thick enough and dense enough that it's comfortable. You can't feel any inconsistencies in the base of the tent, and we have slept in this for a week at a time with no issues. So most comfortable? No, but it is comfortable. You can do it for quite a few days. Also, the mattress cover, which you can see is of the same material, is waterproof. It's also just a cover. That's important because you can take out the pad that is inside that cover and replace it. We had a friend who did that. They went to, Target or whatever, and got a nice foam mattress that I think was a little thicker, a little softer, replaced the mattress that came with this, and it's great. It's something that we might do in the near future. In terms of other interior features, there are a couple of pockets. I wish that there were more. Let me show you what I mean. So you do have 2 upper pockets in both corners. That's great. Plenty of storage. However, if you're sleeping this direction, which is the only direction that you can sleep, one person has all the storage. So, if I want to get my phone out or get a flashlight or whatever in the middle of the night, I have to reach over Hannah. It would have been great if they included pockets over here, down here, something like that. That leads me to another thing that there are a few other interior features that I want to show you. So you have these little hooks in both corners. That's great for hanging lighting or keeping your clothing out of the way if you have a jacket up here or whatever. You'll notice that there's also this little white strip along the edge, and it has a little cord that we keep rolled up in this pocket over here. So that is actually an LED strip that is controlled by USB. The only issue with this is it does not have any controls. If it's plugged in, it's on. You can't dim it or anything like that. However, it is Velcro, so you can remove it. In theory, you could replace it with a better one. Hannah and I just use this little power bank from Goal Zero. It's nice and simple. plugs in and charges that way, and it just has a single USB port on the top. So we plug this in, see if I can do this one-handed. I'll put you down for a sec. So you plug it in, tuck the little power bank up there, and boom, you've got light. We sit up here at night, we read, we watch movies, we hang out. And I say, we hang out here, we sit up here. That's a big deal because we had a wedge-shaped hardshell tent and you could not sit up in it. Right now, I'm 6 foot, give or take. I am sitting up in this tent and I have plenty of space. So the fact that you can be a little bit mobile up here, you can change up here if you have to, you can hang out up here during a rainstorm or whatever, and be comfortable is a game changer for a hardshell tent. That is one of the primary reasons that we love this dual pop-up design, because some rooftop tents do pop up vertically like this one, but they do so using typically a fiberglass shell with a much larger height. So when it's closed, those tend to be, 14 inches or so. I think this one's 8. So we really like that. Those also tend to be fiberglass. This one is aluminum, so we really like that. I think that this is the best combination of all those features that I've personally seen on the market, and that is one of the main reasons that we picked this tent. You may also have noticed these little things that look like windows in the front of the tent. They are not windows, they're actually vents. So we have them closed right now, but let's say that the weather is inclement and you don't want condensation to build up in here. You take this stiff little Velcro piece, you pop out the vent, and now you can see from the outside that is open. So this is allowing you to get ventilation in here even if all the windows are closed. One more thing is, if it's a nice night or one of us gets out to use the bathroom or something, the door of the tent actually has these little Velcro spots all the way around it. So you can close this up with Velcro, you don't have to zipper it. Makes it getting in and out a lot easier, and it seals pretty well, so we've never had any issues with rain getting in if we do that. If it's a night full of those pesky blood-sucking mosquitoes, some of them might get in, you might want to zip it up, but otherwise it's a nice little easy in and out feature. So I've talked a lot about what we like about this tent, and that's because there's a lot to like about this tent. We genuinely believe this is the best rooftop tent we've ever had, and based off those that we've seen other places, whether it be friends, showrooms, expos, I don't think that we would trade this tent for any other option that I've seen. So we've genuinely loved this tent. However, every tent has drawbacks, and so one of the questions that we often get is, well, that's great, you love it, what don't you like, what would you change? And there are a few things. So outside of the kind of hard mattress and the pocket situation on the inside, there are 2 or 3 things that could really use improving. One is the windows are great. We love having 360-degree views, and we also really enjoy the convenience of not having to deal with like prop rods and stuff for window awnings. However, there's a reason that window awnings and door awnings exist, and that reason is if the weather's not great, they keep the rain out and you can keep the windows open. You can't keep these windows open in the rain because they don't have awnings. So starts to rain and it's at all windy, you got to zip those windows up. The same applies to the door, which I think is a little bit more important. If you're trying to get in and out of the tent during inclement weather, you have these nice little side screens, which is nice, and then you have this hard shell overhang, and this is about, I don't know, 1.5 feet, right? But you'll see that as I get out onto the ladder, I'm already passing it. So if you have to get in and out of the tent in poor weather, or it's at all windy, you're getting wet. That's not a major issue. We very rarely camp in poor weather, but the times that we've thought, well, maybe we would trade a tiny bit of that convenience for staying dry. And then the biggest complaint that we have with this tent is the ladder setup. And if you were watching that and thinking, that doesn't seem ideal, it's because it's not. So let me show you why exactly that isn't ideal. Aside from being kind of a pain to get those hooks in there and everything set up, if you are not perfectly level, or the ladder shifts in the night or whatever, one, you get this horrible clunking sound, okay? Two, you can see how easy that is to slide around. That's not super stable, especially if it's the middle of the night and you've got to use the bathroom and you are not expecting to walk the plank in the middle of the night. It's not super secure, makes a lot of noise, definitely wakes up whoever you're camping with. And then the biggest thing about the ladder is when you go to zip up this bottom portion of the door, you can actually see how that hook pushes against the zipper. It interferes with that zipper significantly. It makes zipping it up challenging. If you do manage to get your ladder in the right place, which we found to be like this with the hooks pointed outward, as you zip, it pushes the hook inward, and then you have the issue of instability again. So this ladder design is not ideal, could definitely be improved, and it is our biggest complaint with this tent. I promise that I'm not trying to fanboy over Freespirit Recreation. We also are not affiliated with them. We did get this tent on sale, which made it a much better, more manageable price than what you will see when it's listed at full price. However, I have to say, the second generation of this tent, we have the first version. So if you keep up with what's happening in the industry at all, you know that this is the first generation. There's a new version of this tent. The new version fixes pretty much every complaint that we or other people have voiced about this tent. So props to Freespirit for listening. So first things first, they got rid of your rubber latches. So they've replaced them with more of these. They've also upgraded all of these. So you'll see that these right here are a solid piece. The new ones actually have joints right here so they can flex, making them much, much easier to use. They've also upgraded a few things about the interior. For example, they added a little Velcro vent right here that you can open up. So that is protected by, obviously you have fabric here, then you have the hard shell. You can open up that little Velcro vent and get more cross ventilation even with the windows closed. Finally, they fixed the ladder issue, and we've considered buying the upgrade. I still don't think it's perfect, but it is much, much, much better. So I will describe it to you, but if you really want to know, you can go look at Freespirit Recreation's website, which I will link, and see what they did to fix this problem. So I already showed you this mounts by just hooking onto this middle crossbar. Not ideal. The new ladder uses the T-track, which is a benefit of this tent that I forgot to mention. This T-track goes all the way around the bottom and the top of the tent, makes it very easy to mount accessories like awnings or whatever. The new version of the ladder uses this T-track to mount little hooks basically, and then the ladder has smaller, better hooks that kind of just latch onto there. So you position those mounting brackets at the right distance, and wherever you want to position it in your T-track, ladder hooks in, you're good to go. You don't have to deal with all this nonsense. So they made substantial upgrades. Not enough for us to rush out and sell this tent and get a new one, but if you're buying one now, you should be aware that some of the minor complaints and some of the major complaints were addressed. They're fixed. We've experienced them hands-on. One of our friends has the second gen and loves it, and I can see why. One other thing they changed is the roof of ours is blank aluminum. It's just bare, it's silver. I like that. It reflects the sun, keeps it a little cooler inside the tent. I can easily mount a solar panel. I could, you know, wrap it with my branding if I wanted to. So it gives you a lot of options. The new version has a powder coated top with Freespirit's logo on it. I don't love that. It's very minor. I just prefer the first generation. So with that out of the way, hopefully I covered everything. I'm going to answer a few of the common questions that we get about this tent, and that'll wrap things up. All right, so I have a list of questions that we get asked right here. So I'm just going to read them off and give you our answers. The bottom of the tent is not solid. Does water get in? So I talked about this a little bit when I was in the tent, and I will go ahead and show that to you. You can see that the tent is actually aluminum slats with bars for mounting. And then the base of the tent is actually just fabric, right? And I can push that up. It's soft. It's a great question, but the answer is no water gets in. We have pressure washed it many times, never had any moisture issues of any kind. We've never had any condensation, I think due in part to the fact that that is a soft material rather than a solid metal surface. In our other hard shell tent, we had severe moisture issues. Like, even if it wasn't raining, even if we weren't using the tent, it was a problem. And this one we have none. Do you have condensation problems? No, we don't. Other tents we had some. One tent we had very bad condensation issues. This one, none whatsoever. What would you change? I think I already answered that. I would change the ladder. They did that. I'm not sure if it's ideal, but I also don't know how else you would change it. So I think they did a good job there. I don't mind the rubber latches. My wife would probably say change the rubber latches, and they did. Okay, last question. How many people can fit in it? So Hannah and I both sleep up there. She's around 5'9". I'm 5'11", 6 foot. We'll just say 6 foot. I got shoes on. And we fit with plenty of room to spare. If we had a dog, it could fit up there with us at our feet. Whenever we are camping, we keep water bottles, cell phones, jackets, socks, spare blankets, a couple other things up there with us, and they're not in the way at all. So it's plenty big for 2 adults and a dog, or 2 adults and a kid probably. 3 adults, not going to happen. I should mention this is the bigger version. They have 2 versions. They have a 49-inch and a 55. This is the 55. It weighs in at around 170 pounds, give or take, which is not light, but it's kind of smack dab in the middle of the weight range you would expect for a tent this size, so I'm not complaining. The smaller version does weigh less, so if that's important to you and you don't need the extra space, which technically we don't, but we like it, go with the 49. You'll probably be happy. If I missed anything, or you have more questions about this tent or rooftop tents in general, let me know. If you like videos like this, also let me know. And I will be back hopefully sooner than last time with a new video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.